Hello, hello, hello. How are you doing today? Thank you so much for joining me for a little live video. And we're going to be talking a little bit about practice habits again today, which we haven't done for a while, and going to be talking a little bit about accountability. Before I get onto that, do please let me know you're out there by giving me a little thumbs up if you're on Facebook, or little heart if you're on Instagram, and if you are watching on catch up as well, please do the same, and tag me in any questions that you may have in the comments below so I can be sure to see them. So thank you for joining me. We're going to talk about accountability, but before we get on to that, I just wanted to talk about your practice and thinking about something like your dance practice, movement practice, an exercise routine. Could be anything that you want to practice, really, if you're learning an instrument or a language or whatever it is. Often we can think that it's going to be easy because we really want it. Okay, and we can't quite understand sometimes when blocks come across our way because we really want to do the thing, we really want to learn whatever it is or practice or build that habit, and yet we're finding that we're not doing it. And sometimes it can be difficult to understand why it's not easy and why we're finding it hard. So this can be because we don't always see immediate results from doing the thing. So it can be a lot easier. We're going to get immediate results by not doing the thing. We're going to have the comfort of skipping the practice and watching Netflix or going out for a drink or whatever it is that you choose to do instead, because that's the easy option at the time, and it's difficult to see the long-term benefits. And then once we put this resistance in place, our brain interprets this as a stress signal, and it can't really tell the difference between resisting doing your movement practice and a lion or tiger coming to get you, and it kind of resists us further, or makes us resist even more, and we kind of end up in this bit of a cycle of not doing the thing, which obviously is not very helpful. So we need to find some ways to get beyond this, and accountability is one of the main ways that you can really help to get your practice moving and help it keep momentum once you get going. So I'm going to give you some tips for accountability, some things that have really helped me in the past. And the first one is finding someone to do your practice with. So this can be in all sorts of different ways. You can physically go with somebody to a class, or you can attend a class with them on Zoom, or maybe you can do your practice together on Zoom. We're obviously all very much used to doing things on Zoom at the moment. You don't even have to do it at the same time. Just checking in with each other via text message or WhatsApp to let each other know that you've been continuing doing the practice is a really good way for to keep each other in track. And the whole idea of accountability, which I should have mentioned a moment ago, was it makes it maybe even makes it harder to resist the practice, because you've put the accountability in place. It's not as easy to skip the practice as it would have been had there been no accountability. So, particularly if you've got someone else that's involved with it, you feel like you're going to let them down. So it's not quite as easy to skip the practice. So you keep going with the thing. So that's my first tip. My second tip is to pay for it. So there are so many different options out there for whatever it is you want to practice at all different budgets, and ranging from just a few pounds a month. I'm sure you can get many different options, like on Patreon and small fee subscriber things, up to fully going the whole hog and paying for some private coaching and whatever it is you want to achieve. But by putting a little financial thing in there means that it's just going to give you that little bit of extra motivation to help you see the practice through. If you're working with someone one-on-one, obviously again you've got that added accountability of like having a physical person there. But even with just paying for a course or paying for a subscription, that gives you the accountability of, okay, I've paid for it, so I'm going to get my money's worth. So that can kind of help to keep you motivated as well. Now, my third tip, if you have a practice that perhaps you can't pay for, like you can't pay someone else for, maybe you've got your own practice mapped out in whatever way. Maybe you've got some videos on YouTube that you like to do, or maybe you've just worked out, where you want to practice on your own. Then a good way to make yourself financially accountable is to put a little bit of money aside each time you do the practice. Perhaps pop it into a savings account, or have a money jar or something. That way you can save up for something that's a treat or reward and keep yourself motivated and accountable in that respect. And my final little tip here is to make yourself a little chart of like how often you want to do your practice, whether it's every day or every 2 days, whatever that is. You can either pop it on your phone, or you can actually print something out and stick it on your fridge somewhere really obvious. And by ticking off each time you've done it, it really creates that feeling of accountability. If you've got it somewhere obvious, then you're kind of accountable to that piece of paper on the fridge staring at you. Or if you have it on the home screen of your phone, maybe have some reminders set up on your phone so that it just doesn't get buried. And this also kind of gives you a little dopamine hit. The action of ticking it off and having it done can also make you feel good and achieved as well. And even if you kind of like almost gamify it, make it like you're working towards a streak. You don't necessarily have to have a fixed goal in mind, but the more you do it, the less likely you are to break that streak. For example, if you've managed to do like 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 in a row, then the more you do, the less likely you are to skip, because you've done that many in a row and you don't want to kind of break the streak. So that's one of my favorite ones. So just to kind of give you a couple of examples of those, using that one I just spoke about, I've been doing Arabic lessons on Duolingo, and sometimes I haven't done the lesson throughout the day. And what really keeps me going is the fact that they have this idea of having a streak. And so even if I do a really simple lesson right at the end of the day, I've kept my streak going. And it means that I'm just reinforcing that habit. Maybe it's not the best lesson and the most amazing learning, but I'm keeping going with it. And I may well have fallen off the wagon by now if I hadn't had that in place. Going back to my first point of having an accountability partner, something that I was really working on in 2021 was setting intentions regularly and trying to stick by them, and looking at doing them alongside the new moon. And I set an appointment with a friend of mine, and we would try and get together once a month just around the time of the new moon so we could talk about our intentions together. And that really helped to keep me focused, because again, I think it might have been something that fell off the wagon for me a little bit as the year went on, but knowing that I was doing it with somebody made me feel really compelled to keep going with it, even if I wasn't always as present with it as I would like to have been. And it's definitely a work in progress, as I think all practices are. So that's my 4 tips for you. Get a friend to be accountable with, pay for it so you're accountable, or put it into some savings so you're accountable financially for it. Or the 4th one was making a list and ticking it off as you go along so you stay accountable to that list. So if you're looking for some help with accountability in your practice, then I'm going to be doing something special in the new year. Some of you may have participated in my amazing arms challenge a few years ago, and I'm going to be doing something similar for your hips and pelvis and spine. Now, what's really special about this is I'm going to be doing it live. You can actually do this course for free right now. You can go to my website and pop in your email address. You can get access to all of the content. But in January, I'm going to be doing it live. This means that I'm going to be keeping you motivated as you go along with it. You're actually going to have access to my app that I use with my clients for free. So this is going to kind of deliver all of the information to you. And the app's really good because you can tick things off as you go along, and it helps to keep you motivated and accountable. And we're going to do some Zoom calls as well throughout the week. So you have some access to me and you'll be able to ask me any questions you want. Might even do some assessments on people live in the Zoom, and there's going to be some prizes for people who complete the challenge as well. So if that sounds good to you, please drop a note in the comments or shoot me a private message. Just comment, tell me more below, and I will come back to you with some information about how to get onto that. We're going to be starting on the 10th of January for 1 week, but if you are ready for something in the new year, then get yourself signed up to that, because it's going to be lots of fun and really going to get you started with the new year, get your pelvis feeling a bit more relaxed and released, have you working with some of the techniques that I use personally to keep my pelvis feeling in balance, to help my spine feel loose and fluid and mobile and strong, and working with some core stuff as well. So any questions, please let me know. I haven't got anyone online at the moment, I don't think, but if you are watching on catch up, please do drop your comments in the comments, or your questions in the comments, and yeah, comment, tell me more below if you are interested in joining the live challenge in January. Thank you so much for watching today, and enjoy the rest of your day. Big love.